Hi, my name's John. Welcome to another Sunday night nightcap. I think tonight's nightcap is number 68. Sadly tonight there's no Emmy, so you'll just have to make the best of me. In tonight's nightcap there's a fair bit going on. I do a little welding job for a lad, I do a bit of machining, I do a bit of what I would call manual machining. I go to a car boot sale and I bought a nice lathe tool, tip tool holder. I modified that to fit the new Harrison lathe. Got an update on Debs. She had some more chemo last Monday. This chemo hasn't had the bad effects on her that the last dose did. I mean, it's made her feel ill, but nowhere near as bad. And she's actually gone to work today, which is really a good sign. She needs to keep herself busy, which she's doing. She just wants to try and get back to some sort of normal routine in her life. I've got a little welding job to do. What the lad wants is these studs welding onto the nuts. There's a fair bit of force goes on them, so just a straightforward butt weld there wouldn't be strong enough. What I'll do, I'll cut a slot in there so the stud actually fits in. Then I can weld both sides and try and get some strength into it. It's high tensile stud and it'll weld alright, but the washers have got galvanising on, that'll have to be ground off, otherwise it won't weld. So that's what we'll do. We'll cut a slot in, probably put them all together and just put a slot in with a milling cutter. I use a 7mm cutter, and then it means I can grind the threads off to clean the bar up before I weld it in. I don't use this collet chuck very often because it's not very accurate, but it is quick and easy. Go all the way through just so that the washer doesn't spring apart. Do a little bit at the bottom. I would normally just run the MIG across the top of there, but I have got a nice digital TIG welder on loan from a company called Artec. I'm doing a bit of a review on the welder, so what I'll do, I'll use that to do the welds with, TIG weld it. I'm using the number 6 gas lanes with a 1mm tungsten, 1mm filler wire, and I'm running between 40 and 50 amps. And I know I've got no gloves on, and I should be banished to hell for it. That's a handy little tool. Gives it a good earth and also holds things in place. Ground the zinc off this washer, but you can still tell it's been coated. I've been painted when you try and weld it. got a exhaust manifold here, turbocharged exhaust manifold. It belongs to that Alpha engine that I did the pistons for you that week. And what the lad wants, he wants that lump there machining out. I think it's so he can get a dipstick tube down into the sump on the engine. It would be possible to cut it out with an angle grinder or a die grinder, but I think what I'll do, I'll try and get it mounted on the milling machine and get the big lump milled out, and then I can polish it. Well, not so much polish it, but I'll be able to use a die grinder with a carbide bearing to get the shape he wants. I've got a felt tip pen line to go to. It'll be interesting to try and mount it, because there's nothing sort of that being mounted on that face, probably on an angle plate. I certainly can't get it in a vise. Then you'll get an angle plate and try and mount it and see what we can do. This is an old Eclipse angle plate. I bought it brand new, but it was old. Greaseproof paint on an old cardboard box. I've modified it. I put one or two other holes in, and some tapped holes in there for various jobs. Same there. A very handy bit of gear indeed. I can pick two holes up there. Put it on the plate, and I'll have a bit shuffle about and see what sort of room we've got. Get another bolt through there. One thing I have got is this gnarly carbide cutter. It's been chipped and damaged, but it'll do the job. I'll be able to get down into there and certainly get the thickest of that out. But it's for mounting I'm mounting it. Put a couple of T-bolts in just to hold it in place while I'm shuffling about with it. I should be able to do some with it there. I quite enjoy doing jobs like this where you've got to make the best of what you've got. Try and think outside the box, so to speak, and just use what equipment you have at hand. If I had a nice big bridge pot, it would be easy, but I haven't. Right, I've got in a position now where I can remove some metal, and all I'll do, I'll just jiggle the two axes by hand and carefully whittle away at it. I've decided to adopt a much simpler approach of the angle grinder. One thing I am doing is wearing them. If there's one safety thing I take really important, it's eyesight. That's a very handy tool as well. Carbide burner die grinder. This should really shift cast iron. As you can see, that's really effective. That should do the job for him. You can certainly see where I've been. Get up, you bastard. I wonder if I could change jobs and become a dentist.